This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along. So let's start off and very quickly talk about the first Raw on Netflix. Now, I've heard quite a lot of negative comments about the show on all kinds of different forums, but I have to say, I absolutely loved it. I loved the new production, the drone shots, the new ring mat, the ref shirts, loved it all. And the matches, I couldn't have fantasy booked it better myself. I suppose if I'm being hypercritical, the Rock bit was a bit random, but at the end of the day, he is the Rock. And if he wants to show up, change his character and mostly talk shite, then I'm okay with that. Obviously really happy about the Rhea win. That's great. The Cena segment and him entering the Rumble, just brilliant. Absolutely all of it. And then Hogan getting booed out of the building. I mean, I know he's a racist old troll, but that was a few years ago now. I guess that's WWE Universe is unforgiving unless he's done something else which we don't know about over here. But I felt like he was quite shocked by that as well. I guess we look to next week's Raw and see how it all shapes up under more normal conditions. But so far, give it an A++. Absolutely love the show. So without further ado, let's get to it and review the SmackDown that aired on the 10th of January 2025 from Portland, Oregon. And this is the first SmackDown shown on Netflix in the UK. Just to make a quick visit back to our occasional series, places that Amanda has been in the US, I can confirm that I have been to Portland, Oregon. I have a badge that says Keep Portland Weird, and it was quite weird. They have a weird kind of troll thing underneath a bridge, if I remember, but I digress. Let's get on with it. So we start off with a commentary change. We've got Joe Tessitore. I think that's the right way to say it. I didn't bother learning it before when he was on Raw. And Wade Barrett. I know how to say that one. And then we see Tiffany arriving, the new women's champ. And we get Shinsuke. And he's got a title defense tonight. And we also know that Chelsea is going to be defending against Meacham. So a double US title defense this evening. We start off tonight's show with Paul Heyman in the ring, and he tells us that there comes a time in your career and where you actually can't wait to come out and address the whole of the island of relevancy. He gives Roman the big build-up and says that he's been authorised to tell everyone what's next for Roman, and he also wants to tell Cody Rhodes face-to-face. So out comes Cody, and I guess we know now Roman's next feud. Heyman and Cody shake hands in the ring. It's all very cordial and gentlemanly. Heyman says that he deserves the response that he just got from the crowd and even more. And he says that he's earned the respect of Roman Reigns and he's been a great champion and he's shown himself to be great. And he says that because he's such a great champion, Roman wants to fight him and get his title back. He does the prediction, not a spoiler line, and then he declares Roman for the Royal Rumble. Heyman says he will win the Rumble and face Cody at Mania for the title. Just as Cody is about to talk, we get KO piping up and kind of hanging out in the crowd, coming through the crowd. And he says just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. After Cody teamed with Roman, he shook The Rock's hand at Raw on Monday. And KO continues to lay into Cody verbally, saying that he should have let the bloodline tear Roman apart. And if he lets him have the title back, it will destroy the whole company. And as promised, on site, Cody goes after KO and they brawl through the crowd. Meanwhile, in the ring, we see very menacing as Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga sneak up behind Heyman. And they start to back Heyman up into the corner, and then we get Jimmy to come out, make the save, giving super kicks to them both, and then he gets a chair and starts smashing people up with a chair, but ultimately we get Fatu fighting back, and then the numbers game pays off. They have Jimmy in the corner with a chair wrapped around his neck, and then we get Cody come back to the ring, even things up, and then eventually they clear the ring. I thought this was a really great opening segment. I love that our refs also have the new uniform. That's really super cool. And it's great to see Heyman back in full-on smug git mode. And we now have Roman entered into the Rumble. Too early for Rumble predictions, I think, but that is interesting for sure. We've got Cena declared as well, and I think, obviously, with it being the Cena farewell tour, maybe we might have our 2 early winners there, but it's way, way too early. So scratch that, forget that, didn't say it. So where's Solo? Did we get taken over vibes from Fatu? I think that's where we're going, but I don't think we're quite there yet. So we don't have any breaks as such, but obviously as the SmackDown is still on the cable networks in the US, we can obviously see where the breaks are. So we sort of get promo for upcoming bits and bobs on the WWE network or just on Netflix generally. So as we get back from the break, there's not a break. We get Fatu and Tonga backstage. They're still rowing with officials, referees, and Nick Aldis. And in the ring before, obviously we saw Fatu lay out at least one ref and one official in the ring. So, I mean, surely there must be consequences for that. And then we get a pure comedy moment as from nowhere, LA Knight appears and shoves Fatu out of a very conveniently placed fire door and tells Nick that he didn't use his inside voice, so I put him outside, which I thought was brilliant. And as we know, that's going to tie into the storytelling a bit later on. But a real good opening segment and extension of such. So now we go to the ring for our first action this evening, where we have Michin already waiting, no entrance, so that probably doesn't bode well. Michin here is facing Chelsea Green for the US title. As Chelsea makes her entrance, Piper has gone full-on Secret Service gimmick here. She's got an earpiece and everything. She's nothing if not very adaptable to whatever creative throw at her. If you look at the evolution of her character, all the way from obviously just being Piper Niven when she was in NXT, then she joined SmackDown and she got named Dewdrop. She's been all around the houses, very adaptable, and I hope sometime soon she does get a run of her own, because I really do like watching her in the ring. So as we kick off the match, Chelsea once again dressed in a Stars and Stripes outfit, which I now appreciate is a complete Mickey take with her being a Canadian and all. Michin gets an early good start and goes up top, but Chelsea gets herself out of the way and manages to chuck Michin out of the ring. We now got Chelsea with the upper hand, and she's got a headlock on Michin in the centre of the ring. But Michin manages to counter with a back suplex and follows up with an elbow. Now Michin is really rolling. We get Chelsea blasted into the corner and a cannonball from Michin, which leads to a close pin on Chelsea. Chelsea manages to counter whatever move Michin was planning and drops Michin on her forehead, which actually looked pretty gnarly. She goes for the cover, but no joy. And then we've got Michin back in charge with a series of kicks. And Piper tries to help out, but gets caught in the act by Michin. And then Michin from the top with a crossbody on a dazed Chelsea. But Chelsea rolls through and gets the pin, retaining her title. So we had a Chelsea hanging on to her title here, which I don't think was a big surprise. Once again, with slight thanks to Piper just for the distraction. I get the feeling, and I hope, that we'll be getting a good run with Chelsea as US champ, and I think that's okay. I do wonder who is up for her next. Rumours are abound about possibly a returning Charlotte, or apparently there's even an outside chance that it might be Becky. Anyway, this match was short and sweet and pretty decent. I hope Meechin doesn't just disappear into the background now. But seeing as she got no entrance for this match, I do worry that she's going to be launched back into obscurity, which is a real shame, as this girl really does have fab skills in the ring, and I have enjoyed seeing a lot more of her. So please surprise me, WWE. Joe and Wade talk about the transfer window and say it obviously applies to commentators too, in a reference to their non-advertised switch with Corey and Cole. And we now get a reminder of last week's shenanigans around the tag team division. And we then go backstage to where the Motor City Machine Guns are complaining about the outcome of the match last week. Nick says he has a solution, and he sets up Los Garzas and Pretty Deadly in a match, and then the Motor City Machine Guns and A-Town Down Under in a match. Guessing the winner may get a title shot, but I don't think it's actually been said sort of out loud yet, but we seem to have a kind of unofficial tournament set up here. So we go back to the ring and we get Legado del Fantasma making their entrance for their match, which is right now against Pretty Deadly. We don't see an entrance from Pretty Deadly as the US obviously went for a break. We got a bit more promo of things coming up. Pretty Deadly already in the ring, and things kick off straight away. And when it calms down, we have Kit and Berto in the ring. Berto looking pretty impressive here as he tags in Angel, and they have Kit in the corner, who tries a very exaggerated jump over Los Garzas, which was never gonna happen, to get the tag. But they intercept him and take him out. Angel goes for a quick cover, which Kit kicks out of, and we get a quick tag to Berto, and Kit tries to rally, but Berto quickly overcomes him, remaining in charge. We get Elton Prince making a blind tag, and he drags Berto out of the ring by his neck. And we've got Prince then in charge, with Berto struggling to make the tag, but ultimately fails at first. But then we get Angel in, unloading on Kit. Angel from the top with a crossbody, very nearly for the win. Angel catches Kit with a massive kick and another cover. Elton Prince runs some interference on the outside, and then Elektra Lopez almost immediately returns the favour, distracting the ref. And all that culminates in the Los Garzas hitting the double press, and they get the win over Pretty Deadly. So with this one, as to be expected, we had plenty of outside the ring shenanigans, which is as expected. And as Wade said, Los Garzas out-cheated the cheaters, which is pretty fair. A great match, I thought, as always, with Los Garzas, who are just fab and their skills are off the chart. Really good to see him get the win here, as Pretty Deadly's big losing streak continues. So, not sure where they go now, but Los Garzas march on. And then we're straight into more action. It just keeps coming tonight as we have the men's US title match. So first out, we get LA Knight making his entrance to a huge pop as always. And then we get Shinsuke out. Not much of a reaction. Caveat that, saying not that I could hear on TV anyway. Might have been, as we know, completely different in the actual arena. But it didn't really hear like Shinsuke was over that much. So this match starts with both guys exchanging some moves. Wade and Joe talking about what LA Knight has learned since the first match. And he certainly starts to get the upper hand. But then Shinsuke slips out of the ring and delivers a huge kick to Knight, continuing to slowly stalk him around the ring. Knight tries to fight back, but it has no effect at all on Shinsuke, who just keeps coming forward, beating down on Knight. We then get a reminder from Joe that earlier tonight, Knight chucked Fatu out of the arena and says that it will undoubtedly come back and bite him in the arse at a later date. Meanwhile, LA Knight finally gets some offence in on Nakamura, hitting his head off the new shiny comms desk repeatedly, and continues to beat down on Shinsuke, but again Nakamura slips out of Knight's grasp and manages to run him into the ring post on the outside. As we go back into the ring, we're trading blows, and Knight finally takes Nakamura down, hits a big slam, followed by the elbow, and Nakamura kicks in a very close cover. Nakamura hits a sliding German suplex after Knight narrowly avoids the exposed turnbuckle. That's obviously a thing that's going to be running throughout this feud. And Nakamura goes to the top, but Knight meets him there and hits an amazing suplex and gets a painfully close 2 count. Knight has Nakamura in a submission move in the middle of the ring, but somehow Shinsuke makes it to the rope and gets the break. Knight goes for it again, but is caught by Shinsuke, who goes for the Kinshasa, missing, but hits a spinning back elbow on Knight. This time he hits the Kinshasa and goes for the cover, but Knight manages to get his leg up on the rope. And now Shinsuke has Knight hung up on the exposed turnbuckle, but Knight moves, hitting a BFT, but before he can make the most out of it and get the cover, surprise, surprise, we get Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, crash the ring, cause the DQ, and start to beat down on Knight. Finally, Cody and Jimmy come out to make the save. No security, clearly felt like coming down and getting kicked in the face by Jacob Fatu again, and who could blame them? Just as it gets separated, Cody says, don't send them home, let's have a match. And so we get Nick Aldis making the match, which is Cody and Jimmy versus Fatu and Tonga, and that's made official for tonight. First of all, I thought I get that the US title match was basically a vehicle to get what we're now calling the Homeless Bloodline, to face Cody and Jimmy. But I can't help but think what a shame. The Knight Nakamura match was shaping up for a brilliant finish, and I hope we get another run at it. I think we might do. They keep making a big deal out of Solo not being here tonight, and they just said that the Homeless Bloodline basically have no tribal chief, which makes me think, where does Solo fit into all this? Kind of annoyed at this setup, but let's see what the match delivers, and let's not forget that we still have KO skulking around somewhere too, like a stroppy toddler. We then go to a recap of last week's women's title match and the cash-in, which incidentally I still think is one of the best cash-ins ever, male or female. Really enjoyed it. And then we get the second of tonight's tag matches, and this is the Motor City Machine Guns versus A-Town Down Under. Pretty average reaction for the Motor City Machine Guns, and as always, massive boos for A-Town Down Under. Wade reminds us that the trouble between A-Town Down Under is water under the bridge, a sure sign that it probably isn't. So we start off with Waller and Shelley. Gets a quick tag to Theory, who smashes Shelley into the corner chest first, and Shelley gets a tag to Sabin, who is in with Theory, but Theory then manages to get a tag to Waller, so all changing around very, very quickly at the beginning of this match. Waller sets up Sabin for the spinner and goes right into an armbar. Motor City Machine Guns get a blind tag, and we've now got Shelley legal, and he eats double team moves as Theory interferes. Waller hits the rolling flatliner. Waller and Theory with some of their own double team moves, and we now have Theory and Shelley in the ring. Theory with a tag, and as Waller is showboating, Shelley gets the tag to Sabin, who unloads some big right hands and then hits a missile dropkick from the top rope. Then gets Shelley back in off the tag, and they go for a double baseball slide, followed by a double suicide dive. We get Theory with a blind tag as they start to fight back. Theory comes from absolutely nowhere and blindsides Sabin with an elbow. and a double strike on Sabin. Theory back in, and Sabin with a tag to Shelley, and then we got all guys in the ring. Motor City Machine Guns with some of their patented awesome double team moves, pull off some fantastic moves as they build up to hitting the skull and crossbones and get the victory. Well, that was a really hectic match, really difficult to keep track of. Blind tags, double teams, and plenty of shenanigans all round. The crowd were well into it at the end, which was good. It was a really great match. So as we're left with it now, we've got Motor City Machine Guns winning. We go backstage where DIY are furious that the Motor City Machine Guns have won. Pretty Deadly approach and ask them why the hell they didn't have their back tonight. And DIY pacify them and say, don't worry, you're definitely going to get your tag team match. We just got to deal with some backstage politics. Apollo Crews appears and basically tells Pretty Deadly that they are mugs if they believe anything that DIY say. Again, bit weird. Not sure what this has got to do with Apollo, but maybe he's being set up as the teller of truths or something. Anyway, it's nice for him to have something to do, I suppose. We now go to Nia backstage, who looks pretty mad, and Candice slides in and tells her that she's just seen Tiffy headed to the ring, and Nia says she should go and congratulate her. And now, finally, the moment we've been waiting for, it's finally Tiffy time. She comes out to a massive pop. She can't possibly continue to be a heel with reactions like that, can she? I don't think so. And she gets to the ring, and Byron's there to interview her. And he says, last week you shocked the world by cashing in and becoming champion. And she said, what a Tiffy turn of events. Less than a year ago, she made her debut. Then she won Money in the Bank, and she's already better than all of our favourites. She says she befriended Nia, got her trust. Nia thought she was a dumb blonde, naive and stupid, but she let her think that. And Nia put her guard down, and that's basically how she won. With that, Nia's music hits, and the crowd unleash some almighty boos. She says that Tiffy is an ungrateful little shit. She says that right now she could kill her. Nia says that Tiffy would be nothing without her. She finally took advantage, and it took her long enough. The crowd chant Tiffy time. Nia says time's up. She either gives her belt back or she's going to take it. At that, we get Bailey's music hit, and she basically tells Nia to shut up. And Bailey says that if that was Tiffy's plan all along, then it was genius and well done. And she says that she knows Nia is stupid if Tiffy outsmarted her. Bailey says she hasn't forgotten that the only reason that she lost the title was because of Tiffy and the help she gave Nia at SummerSlam. We then get Naomi out with her, in inverted commas, quote-unquote, sidekick Bianca, which is a weird dynamic. She says everyone knows that she had her beat last week and she deserves a shot. Nia says no one cares about her, and Nia starts getting beat up by all the women as Tiffy hits the prettiest moonsault ever on all of them, grabs the title and gets out of there. Nick Aldis comes out and tells them that he has an idea, and he says there will be a fatal four-way match to determine the number one contender, and in Teddy Long style, that match starts right now. So before we get to the match, let's just have a quick chat about the segment. First off, Nia sucks on the mic. I mean, she's really bad. She's been in WWE for such a long time now. How is she still this crap on the mic? In my opinion. Second off, how many chances is Naomi going to get? Yes, she's got great talent, but she's already a tag champ. And just yawn. Now Bailey, yes, I can see that, and I wouldn't mind her having another run. And of course, Bianca, the forgotten superstar. Anyway, to this match now. From the outset, I think this is going to be really chaotic, so bear with. We have Bianca and Naomi working together at first as they try and take out Nia, but predictably she powers out, but gets outsmarted by the tag champs who try a double team suplex, but Nia manages to turn the tables and hits a suplex on both of them. Bianca and Naomi are still working on Nia, and she has all three women laid out in the ring as she ducks out, leaving Bayley, Naomi and Bianca to face off. Nia pulls Bianca out of the ring, leaving Bayley and Naomi to face off. And Naomi and Bayley are absolutely brilliant together, as they have been through all their matches together, exchanging moves in the ring, trading covers. Naomi with a smart cover on Bayley, and again Nia pulls Bayley out of the ring, leaving Naomi in with Nia. And a bit of very obvious shot calling from Nia, which is super frustrating. Again, how long has she been in the WWE? There we go. She gets the cover on Naomi following a power slam. And we now have Bianca in with Nia, who's making a good account against Nia, pounding her with punches in the corner, but is caught and gets a powerbomb. The cover is broken up by Bayley. Now we have Bayley in with Nia and gets a close 2 count on Nia. Bayley now up the top, but struggles and is caught by Nia, who gets her up on the shoulders, and then in come Naomi and Bianca, who come underneath and hit what's now become very traditional superplex, leaving everyone down. Nia with a cover on Naomi, but that's broken up by Bianca and Bayley, who then team up on Nia again, managing to get Nia out of the ring and now face off in the ring. Bayley goes for Bayley to belly and Bianca for KOD, neither successful. And just as it's getting good, in comes Nia again, yawn to slow things down. Naomi is now in with Nia, hits a split leg moonsault, goes for the cover. Then we get a flying elbow from Bayley. She's pulled off the cover by Naomi. And finally Bianca hits a 450 splash. All three women then pile onto Nia, fighting for the pin, but no one gets it. And then out comes Candice, very slowly, just sliding out to the ring. In the ring, we've got Naomi and Bianca teaming up on Bayley. We're just about to get a Bianca and Naomi fight, but instead we get double suicide dives to opposite sides of the ring on Nia and Bayley. Bayley hits Bayley to belly and Naomi makes the save. Naomi with the rear view and Nia breaks it up. Now Bianca gets a close cover on Bayley and she tries to hit KOD, but Candice stops it. Bianca accidentally whips Naomi with her hair. Nia and Bianca take each other out over the new super reinforced announce desk. And in the ring, it was Nia and Bianca take each other out. And then in the ring, Bayley hits the rose plant on Naomi for the win. So I'm pleased that Bayley has earned the right to be number one contender. I think a match between her and Tiffy will be awesome. I'm also glad to see Nia hopefully out of the picture, at least for a while. I find the pace of all her matches excruciating and really boring to watch. Will we now start to get division between the tag champs? And is this the beginning of the end for them? And more importantly, do we find out that it was Naomi who took out Jade? Oh my god, I really hope so. I would just love to see a fully heel Naomi. That would be awesome. We then go to Cody backstage with Jimmy, who are letting us know that all is good for them as a team tonight. And then we get Mello randomly inserting himself again. Maybe that will play into the match tonight, but I feel it's way more likely that KO will feature somewhere, or maybe Solo is here. I don't know. I'm not really sure what they're doing with Mello. He just seems to be hanging around, being a bit of a douche. Maybe there's more to come. Byron has Bayley backstage and tells Bayley that the match is going to take place next week. Bayley said that she's ready and that Tiffany has never beat her. I personally suspect that changes next week. Whether we get a clean Tiffy win or whether we get other people inserting themselves into the match, I don't think there's any way they put the title on an up-and-coming superstar like Tiffy for such a short period of time. Jacob Fatu cuts a promo en route to the ring. It was very shouty, and I only caught the bit at the end about something about Elm Street, and I completely appreciate it. Makes me sound like a complete middle-aged old lady, which is exactly what I am, but I couldn't hear a bloody word of it. We then get our main event kicking off with Cody in with Tama Tonga. They tie up with Cody planting Tonga, but Cody turns his back, allowing Tonga to attack as the tag is made, and Jimmy is in with Fatu. Jimmy takes out Tonga on the apron and is about to beat down on Fatu, but he manages to hit from nowhere what is a beautiful pop-up Samoan drop. Tonga's in the ring now and kicks Cody off the apron, hitting a leaping senton on Jimmy. Fatu gets the blind tag, taking out Cody on the apron, and continues to beat down on Jimmy. He hits the running hip attack on Jimmy twice. I'm glad that I now know the proper name of that move, because I think I've been calling it the smash in the face with the arse move for quite a long time now. Fatu is now with Jimmy on the second rope, but Jimmy starts to fight back, hitting a spinning crossbody on Fatu. And we get a double tag made. We got Cody in with Tama Tonga. Cody hits the disaster kick and is rolling, getting rid of Tonga, and Fatu following up with a suicide dive. Goes for the cover, but Tonga kicks in two. Cody goes for crossroads, but is blocked, and Tonga hits a DDT. Cody with Tonga on the top rope and a tag made to Jimmy. Hits the superplex and a Uso splash. Cody hits Cody cutter on Fatu, and right on cue, out comes KO. Cody, true to his word, he's going to drop him on sight, so he goes running out of the ring after KO, leaving Jimmy all on his own in the ring. Jimmy spears Tonga and hits the Uso splash, but Fatu pulls Jimmy off the cover, and Jimmy is all alone with Tonga and Fatu. Fatu hits the Impaler DDT and then his moonsault from the top rope for the cover, leaving those guys with the win. So I guess this was the cleanest way. Obviously we can't have Cody losing to the Homeless Bloodline, but this way he's well out of it, brawling with KO. We get some footage backstage of KO and Cody still fighting, and Cody puts KO through a very well placed table randomly with some food on it in the arena area. And as we go off the air, we have the carnage of KO and Cody, and Joe reminding us that it is still 3 weeks till the ladder match at the Rumble, and will they make it, and what the hell's going to happen in the meantime, basically. So I thought this was a pretty great show this week. First one on Netflix in the UK, and no ad breaks, which was brilliant. Again, I didn't really notice the extra hour. Loving what's going on in the tag division, and the Tiffy Time reign looks like it's going to be lots of fun. The KO and Cody story is a grower, and reluctantly finding myself more and more invested every week, remembering that at some point we've still got Randy to insert back into that picture as well. So all in all for me, so far, I am loving the new Netflix era, and long may it continue. So that just about does it for this week. And as always, thank you for having me in your ears, and until next time, remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.